Well, let me tell you a little bit of a story or context and how I got here.
Today I'm joined with a very special guest, Lynn Podetti. Lynn is an incredible entrepreneur. She's someone who I think has kind of mastered the art of living.
Obviously, I was a single mom. I came from a family that my parents didn't believe I would ever be amount to anything and didn't believe in my dream. And so about 6-7 years ago, I kind of just felt like something's missing.
I've never kind of resonated with the term virtual assistant. I've always just thought, hey, we have team members. What's a virtual assistant and how does it differ from just remote team members?
Yeah. Oh, Dora, I'm so confused myself. I've been in it for over 15 years in that sense. Even us as a business, we've been struggling to kind of demonstrate that a VA is still just a person who can work virtually.
What's the stuff that is just the dumb stuff that you should not be doing as an entrepreneur that, you should just get completely off your plate?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many minor tasks. That's why I always encourage people to audit their day.
You talk a lot about 360-degree success. What is that and how are you thinking about that?
About 6-7 years ago, I kind of just felt like something's missing. Like, I don't know what it is. How do I become a better wife and a better boss? Ultimately, how do I just feel happier?
Welcome to the Lean Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Allan Dib. Today I'm joined with a very special guest, Lynn Podetti. Lynn is an incredible entrepreneur. She's someone who I think has kind of mastered the art of living, right? So she's not only financially successful, she's a successful business person. She runs a large outsourcing business. She's very balanced from a health, family perspective. She's certainly inspired my health journey and she's inspired me to do better every day. So welcome to the podcast, Lynn.
Oh, thank you, Allan. That was a beautiful introduction.
Pleasure. Well, it's all true. Lynn, for people who don't know you, what's the kind of one paragraph intro to who you are and what do you do and who do you do it for?
Yeah, so I guess I would describe myself as a mumpreneur. I've been a single mum or had a child since I was 20 years old. So I think I've always had to wear that hat really early on. And because of that, I also decided I really wanted to start my own business so that I could have the flexibility and freedom for my son. So that led me into my entrepreneurship journey. But other than being a mumpreneur, I run an outsourcing company. So people do come to me for kind of expertise around time freedom. How do you actually remove yourself from the business by having resources to help you to scale your business?
Yep. And so your business is mainly about providing people to help with tasks in the Philippines, helping with outsourcing and virtual assistant kind of tasks. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. At this moment, I'm actually on a mission to get my virtual assistant to really think outside of just being task doers. I want them to actually be part of my journey to transform lives of their clients, to be able to have more balance. How can they, not just achieve tasks within the business, but to actually free up time to work on their other parts of their life?
Amazing. So now with AI and technology coming in, we need less and less labor to do more and more. And the way I see business systems is some of it can be done by people and some of it can be done by technology. And more of it now is being done by technology, like AI, automation, all of those sorts of things. So how are you thinking about that from a labor perspective?
Look, at the end of the day, I think that it's a beautiful thing to see technology advancing and it's just making our life so much easier. So I'll give you an example, yesterday's task. I wanted to do a survey and, I personally still need to really think, what do I want out of this survey? And so I created the questions with the help of ChatGPT. It's just fed it up, but it still was something that I need to know what is the purpose of why I wanted to do it. I'm not very good with creating Google Forms and making certain questions compulsory or not. That's what my virtual assistant was able to do, create me that full form ready to go, right? And then when I got the results back, I was like, don't give me the results, actually, and analyze it. And I was so impressed. She turned it around in 5 minutes, thanks to the power of ChatGPT, because it really interpreted the percentage of people that filled out, what was the top results and things like that. Now, I love that she actually used it. I don't need her to be doing it manually the old way, but this is where I really am so excited about the future. It's making my VAs who normally wouldn't be as strategic or might take a lot more time to analyze data But because of that, she knew what I wanted and she knew how to get the system to work for her. So it's such a win-win.
It is a win-win. And one of the goals that we've got in our business this year is to triple our revenue and not add any new team members. So we've really gone full steam ahead with that. And I've never kind of resonated with the term virtual assistant. I've always just thought, hey, we have team members. Some team members are in the same country. Most are in other countries, and they're just team members. They have a role, someone's in sales, someone's in marketing, someone's in an assistant or whatever. So can you clarify what's a virtual assistant and how does it differ from just remote team members?
Yeah, the terms are so interchangeable. And, some people who understand virtual assistants and know the term, when I mention, they know exactly what it is. But when people don't know what a virtual assistant term means, they might think it's an AI tool, an agent or something,
right.
Or they really could think it's a virtual EA. But I think after being in it for so long and really listening to the market and data, I think generally the more percentage of people actually think virtual assistant is more like a virtual EA who happens to know how to do some other tech work, right? And so there's a place for that. There is virtual assistant or virtual EA that can handle that. Because the thing is, a lot of my virtual staff who've been with me for so long, they continue to upskill, they continue to take load off me. And so their role has changed over time, right? And so what we do in our own business is we kind of explain to people, do you want a virtual assistant who is someone that can help to free up time as a founder, right? And then if you're looking for a particular role with the skill set, hey, I want someone that can do sales support or someone that can do social media management. So then we hire those roles for them. But to be honest, every client comes in with different terms. They straight away goes, I want a virtual assistant that knows how to do active campaign. And so it's very interchangeable.
What's the stuff that is just the dumb stuff that you should not be doing as an entrepreneur that, you should just get completely off your plate? It's kind of blocking your growth and scalability. I mean, you would see that every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many minor tasks. That's why I always encourage people to audit their day. Literally take every half an hour, kind of think back, what did I actually do? All those little things actually add up to someone's role and you shouldn't be doing it, right? And so when I hire someone, I'm going to force myself to actually delegate these things. Otherwise, I'm always going to be stuck like that, right? And so sometimes I hear people go, I don't think I have many tasks. I'm like, really? It's like I have endless tasks and it's because I continuously audit. And so some of the key thing is I do not book my own meetings, right? And I remember there was times that I used to book because I'm thinking, well, I kind of know my calendar. If I just reply one, then, it's only a few minutes.
Yeah.
But then when you get used to delegating, you realize that task can take so long because it's the rescheduling, it's the follow through that really happens. So calendar management is something that people should definitely do, but even following up. So we have an assistant for every local person. We look at it as what are the best skill set that someone can do. And I want them to utilize their skill set and their experience working with the clients. So every local person has an assistant so that they are the most optimized. So before you go and hire another one, it's like looking into their task and go, how can maybe one sales admin person be a support to maybe that role and another local person's role? And then it frees them up so that you might not even need to hire anyone just yet.
So obviously a lot of people listening to this are interested in marketing, entrepreneurship, how to get successful, but really those are kind of tools and the end game is to live an amazing life, to live life on your own terms. And you talk a lot about 360-degree success. What is that and how are you thinking about that?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit of a story or context and how I got here. So I was determined to be successful. Money was all I could think about. I really wanted to be wealthy because I didn't grow up with anything. I did end up starting my own business. I married also an entrepreneur. We're both business people making money. And, he would work sometimes 6 days a week, even though he's been in business now for 25 years. And so years would go by. His life never changed. He was still working long hours, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I was pressured. I was stressed because I was always trying to make more money, right? When we make more money, we need to hire more people. We want to move that revenue goal again. And so about 6-7 years ago, I kind of just felt like something's missing. Like, I don't know what it is. And so I started working with a life coach. And so it was just me working on myself, how to become a better mother, how do I become a better wife and a better boss. Ultimately, how do I just feel happier? And I realized that I don't even know what a definition of success is for a mum. Or like I knew what money I think could give me, but other than that, I haven't really defined that. And surprisingly, all it came down to is how I would spend my days. What we did was we mapped it out my year. We started plugging in those dates, whether it's my own holidays, my husband, things that I want to do with my kids. And as I plugged it in and I started doing it, I started to feel this sense of achievement. And so I started doing that. And my relationship with my kids got better. I started traveling more. I started to enjoy life more. And so I realized that if we don't be intentional about how we design our time, we will create the time, we'll fill it up with more work, with more money. And with that money, we would probably buy things and use it unintentionally, and it doesn't actually give us back any fulfillment. I mean, I would love to share my S3C method that I've created that I'm actually writing in my book, just to get people to go from feeling chaotic in their life and going, yes, I need to have a balanced life, but how do I actually get there? And so I would say the first step is self-worth. And then the second thing is actually clarity. So like beyond your financial goal, like what does it mean to be successful in the other areas, right? And after clarity, then you need to also have consistency. So this is where the habits that we have, right? It's because we know that we want that, but we don't build calendar, systems, accountability, and then we don't do it. And so after you have consistency, I also believe that you need to understand a lot of calming techniques. When I say calming techniques is knowing certain ways to not get caught up in challenges. I would always say focus on what you can actually control. So it's ways that you have to be able to feel better, because if you don't stay calm, know how to be calm, then it doesn't matter if you have all these habits, and it doesn't matter if you know what you're supposed to do, you are always reacting to life. I guess it comes down to having faith, knowing that I'm not living in this world on my own. God has things designed and I just need to go with the flow. I don't have to feel like I have to figure everything out. And I think it comes down to self-mastery, knowing how to master your own mindset and techniques to stay calm. Then all of that steps would be easy to change your life, rather than it's just a quick motivation.
With clarity, how do you get that clarity? Because a lot of people are like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I want to do, all of that sort of thing. How do you get that clarity?
Yeah. Well, when I think of clarity now, I think of the different roles that I play, because as a business owner, the goal that I want for my business is very different. And so my goals are not just a outcome goal, it's a be and do goal as well. So I set goals that I know that it will make my outcome as an inspiring or generous leader. I started to have that clarity and what I need to do and be in order to get to the goal that we want. You need to kind of clear all that web out first, so then you can get to your clarity better. And because sometimes your goals could be given by someone else. There are times when I got caught up in success that the number that I had in my mind about what my revenue should be or how my business should be was someone else's goal.
Yeah.
Right? And so then you just have to really customize that experience and work on yourself and go, what is it for you? It will look very different to other people.
The other thing that I found is the power of identity. And I remember a couple of identity shifts in my life. So number one was when I thought of myself as a marketer rather than just a person running an IT business, which was in my first business. And I'm like, that identity shift changed everything. I'm like, no, now I'm a marketer of IT services. So that completely changed everything. Then a few years ago, I was having a blood test and I was going over it with my friend who's kind of into health and fitness. And I was saying, see, it's in the normal range, right? And he was going, no, it's too low. He goes, it's in the normal range for the normal population. But he goes, you're an athlete. And I'm like, oh, I'm an athlete. Yeah, well, so he's going like, it's got to be higher if you're an athlete, right? So from then on, I'm like, yeah, up until then, I mean, I was still trying to get healthy, trying to get fit or whatever, but I never had that identity of, hey, I'm an athlete. So that totally changed how I saw things. So that was a powerful identity shift.
It's the most powerful shift. It's just like in Atomic Habit, James Clear talked about that too. If you want to change any habit, you kind of got to change your identity and believe in that.
Totally. You talked a little bit about journaling before. I've never had the journaling habit. I hear from a lot of people that it's powerful, useful. Like if I was to start today or tomorrow, what do I write in my journal? How do you start journaling?
Okay, so at first, when I started journaling, I just practiced gratitude journaling. Like, what are you actually grateful for? And over time, it became a habit. I just was easy to just wake up and write. So it's been like 15 years practice. At the time when I was going through a lot of challenges, it was easy to actually just talk out what's going on in my life and go, right now, I'm feeling this just happened, and oh my God, I don't know what to do. And the venting of it was so therapeutic. And so journaling became a lot easier. And nowadays I do a little bit different. I create a Notion kind of dashboard, or you create your own note format. And my journal looks very different now. It has a column that says, like, how you're feeling 1 to 5. And then I go, what is that feeling that you're feeling? So I've already got a drop down of all these feelings, and it's good to check in with yourself. So I'll give you an example. I wanted to teach my kids gratitude because it was the most life-changing experience for me. And I also felt that if I could give them the ability to change their mindset to be positive, then I think it will be a winner in any circumstance they will face in the future. So at first, my son, who was only like 4 at the time or something, he struggled. I said, what are you grateful for? He goes, nothing. He could only think of the bad things. And, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, he said that we are default to negativity. Even as a baby, when we're born, the first thing we do is we cry. So we as human beings are default to actually being negative. So what is it that we're going to do every day to shift to be positive? It's actually a conscious effort. And so that's what I did with my son and my daughter. I said, what are you grateful for? Nah, just struggled. Next day, struggle. Third, fourth day, it got easier. And now they can't live without it. My kids have now been trained to really think intentionally. So they're focusing on a lot of more menial things, but it all comes down to practice. If you practice it, you'll get better at it. And if a 4-year-old can do it, you can do it too.
Well, I'm grateful we got to talk today. You've inspired me, that's for sure. So I'm gonna have another go at journaling. So like I said, I've had a few false starts, but I haven't got there. And you've inspired me to put in other good habits in my life. So I think I can do this. Thank you, Lynn. It was such a pleasure to have you on. Where can people find you if they need some help with outsourcing or virtual assistants or virtual team members or whatever you want to call it? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so if you visit outsourcingangel.com, that's where we can help you with outsourcing. But of course, come and connect with me. I'm all over the internet, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Add me. I'm very friendly.
Awesome. And we'll link to all those resources, of course. Thank you so much, Lynn. It was such a pleasure to have you.
Thanks heaps, Allan. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Lean Marketing Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by the Lean Marketing Accelerator. Want to take control of your marketing and see real results? With the Accelerator, you get proven strategies, tools, and personalized support to scale your business. Visit leanmarketing.com/accelerator to learn how we can help you get bigger results with less marketing. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review or share it with someone who would find it helpful. See you next time.